Hello everyone, it's Sandra and welcome to today's video. I thought it would be fun to take a trip down memory lane, and as I got ready for the day, I reacted to my beauty favorites video from 10 years ago. Dug through my personal YouTube archive and I found one of the first yearly beauty videos that I ever did, and it was Best of Beauty 2013. That was before I started doing them with my friend Dina. That would be really fun to reminisce about those old favorites and see what's changed, where are those products now, and you might be surprised at some of them. I certainly was. Look at this. Look at baby Sandra sitting on her living room floor talking about makeup. A lot of foundations that I liked this year, but the one that stands out, and I don't have it with me because I used it up, it's the Guerlain Lingerie de Peau foundation. I loved it. 10 years ago, my favorite foundation was Guerlain Lingerie de Peau. I remember loving that foundation so much. This year, I did buy a Guerlain foundation for the first time in about 10 years. I bought the new Guerlain Terracotta Le Teint foundation. I'm going to apply this foundation today. I did a whole video all about it. I don't love this foundation, but I don't hate it either. Sometimes it looks really nice, sometimes it looks terrible. It has a really strong powdery kind of fragrance. It's not bad. I mean, I have to finesse it. It has a really nice soft matte finish. I did exfoliate my skin this morning, so I think that has a big thing to do with it. Sometimes it can really accentuate dryness. I kept it, right? I liked it enough not to return it, if that says anything, but it's just not my favorite foundation of the year by any means. Now, I don't seem to talk about under eye concealing. I don't think in 2013 I had dark circles to really care about. I'm just going in with my favorite corrector, the Sisley Phyto-Cernes Eclat, and a little bit of the Haus Labs Concealer in shade number 21 under my eyes. It was so funny watching this back. It's been probably close to a decade since I've watched this video back, and it just felt so nostalgic and also reaffirming in a way, because my makeup taste in terms of brands has not changed. Ethos has very much stayed the same. I've always been into luxury beauty, and I've always been into just having a few products that are really, really good, as opposed to just like amassing a huge collection. In terms of concealer, I haven't really veered. I haven't tried anything new because I was really happy with the Mercier Secret Camouflage. I ended up repurchasing this year. This is my favorite concealer for blemishes, for scars, anything like that. This is a product I still buy and that I still use. This is the best concealer if you have acne prone skin and you get breakouts, because this stays. You can cover up those mountains. You just need a tiny little brush and do the Lisa Eldridge pinpoint concealing technique, and this stays put. I love the fact that you get two different shades, so you can really mix and match and refine the right shade for what you're trying to cover up. This is like a hard, kind of waxy texture, so you do need to warm it up a little bit with the warmth of your finger first, and then, you know, fine tune the shade and apply it as needed. I'm gonna do just a little bit on this one little red spot on my nose and just tap it very, very gently. The key is to use a really light hand and a small brush, but this is the best concealer for blemishes. I have not steered from it in over 10 years. I'm just gonna go right ahead and powder my face. I'm using the Givenchy Prism Libre powder. This is my favorite powder for my under eyes. It's the Chanel Le Beige powder, down in the shade number 40, and I've used this as a bronzer all year. It's been a long time since I have I've revisited it. It is a product that they still make. Perhaps I should revisit it at some point. I wonder if any of you still use it. I'm using the Jones Road bronzer in the shade Light Tan. This is a bronzer that I'm loving at the moment. I was definitely a Chanel makeup girly at that point. I remember I also used to love the Chanel Vita Lumiere Aqua foundation, which is something that they still make, and it's another thing that I've been kind of nostalgic about it lately. I wonder if I would still like it now. And then I also talked about how much I loved the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette. The highlighters are beautiful, they're finely milled, they look really natural. I'm not really a big highlighter person, but with these, I just find them so easy to use. The original 3-pan ambient light palette, it took me years to use that up. I did end up using that product up every single square to the last drop. I haven't been drawn to Hourglass palettes at all. Even though they've evolved, now they have blush, they have bronzer, they have different types of different levels of sheen. I don't know, nothing about them has tempted me. So I haven't been buying them at all since I used up my original, but it's a classic. It's a classic. I know so many people swear by the Hourglass powders. For some reason, I've just haven't been feeling drawn to them. It's a very bright pink when you look at it, but it kind of tends to, it gets a little bit toned down. It's not as cotton candy looking when you put it on. Good old faithful Dior Rosy Glow, the original Dior Rosy Glow. And it's just really funny how that blush has had a resurgence and it's super popular again. I remember it went viral on TikTok. I think that there's a correlation between me loving like these hot pink shades and my hair color, because then I stopped using Dior Rosy Glow and a few years later I ended up decluttering it. But when I had dark hair, I really liked it. But then in 2014, I started getting a lot of highlights and my hair was almost blonde at one point, and I didn't like those bright, cool toned pink shades on me when I had lighter hair. Now that my hair is darker again, I have noticed that this year I've been really drawn to these hot pink shades. I bought the Makeup by Mario blush in the perfect pink shade, and then the Chantecaille Wild Horses Joy blush. This is a pretty bright pink. This has been probably my most used powder blush this year. I love this so much. I think this is the blush that I'm going to use today. But now that my hair is dark again, I'm back on the brunette side of life. I've been welcoming this bright pop of pink on my cheeks. I don't like cream blushes. This is the first cream blush I actually went out and bought. The color that I have here is number 63, Revelation. The next blush I really loved in 2013 is a blush that doesn't exist anymore, but it's a blush formula that I still think about so fondly because it was the original Chanel cream blush, and it was like a cream to powder blush formula, and I was obsessed with this cream blush formula. It was so good. Chanel does not make them anymore. Chanel does have a cream blush. They have like cream blush sticks now that are just really dewy, and they have those lip and cheek jars when they launch their #1 collection, but none of those come close to what the OG Chanel cream blushes were because of that cream to powder texture. And the closest thing that I have discovered to that old Chanel formula is the Armani Neo Nude formula. This is a product that I discovered maybe a couple years ago now, and I still love it so much. I haven't checked the stock situation on this, but I know that all of the shades in this product were sold out at one point. I don't know if it's discontinued now, but in terms of formula, this is the closest thing to that OG Chanel blush formula that I loved so much. And this eyeshadow came out in there, and all the eyeshadows that they released were really nice, but my favorite one was this one. It's called Body Conscious, and it is a beautiful warm satin. Talked about this MAC collection. It was called the Nudes and Metallics collection. I think it came out in 2013. Favorite shadow that I talked about in 2013 was a shade called Body Conscious, which was like a really rusty, warm, coppery shade. I don't have that anymore, but I still hung on to one eyeshadow from that collection, from that 2013 collection, and I still love this so much. It's called Glimpse of Flesh. It's a satin eyeshadow by MAC, and no wonder I loved it so much because it's essentially the slightly lighter sister of Chantecaille Sylvie. Chantecaille Sylvie is my favorite one and done eyeshadow of current times. Let me put this on. I dropped it a few times and I was so afraid that it would shatter and disappear forever, but this is still going strong, and it's just a basic neutral brown. Pulls a hint warmer on my eyelids. I remember the chokehold the Modern Renaissance palette had on the makeup community for years, and then we were all just, no matter what, we were all just rocking those like burgundy, ox blood, rusty brown, dramatic smoky eyes. Didn't matter if it was actually working with our skin tone, we were rocking it. I want a little bit of a sheen though, so I'm going to take a little bit of Chantecaille Copper. I need a bit more light reflection. I don't seem to talk about eyebrows at all in that video, and I don't think I really cared about eyebrows or eyebrow products. The eyebrow aesthetic has shifted a bit, you know, as we all learned to grow out our eyebrows and embrace a more full, fluffy brow. I feel like product trends have changed too to accommodate that. This is probably the eyeliner that I use the most, and it's a dark brown by Dior. Dark brown, waterproof eye pencil from Dior. I remember loving that so much. I went through several of them. I did find a dark brown eyeliner that I really fell in love with this year, and it's by Victoria Beckham. This is the Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal liner in the shade Cocoa. It's really easy to blend. It glides on easily, but then once it sets, it lasts all day. It doesn't smudge on me. I really like this. I feel like this is one of the best products. I mean, Victoria Beckham Beauty as a whole has not disappointed me at all, but this is definitely one of the star products of the line. In the video, I also talk about a Burberry eyeliner that was like a shimmery charcoal shade. And never forget my love affair for Burberry Beauty. Haven't checked on Burberry Beauty in a while. You know how sometimes people get nostalgic and start looking up old childhood friends on Facebook? I do that with beauty brands. Then I'm taking the Victoria Beckham Brightening Waterline Pencil on my waterline as well. This will be no surprise because I've talked about this so much, and my favorite mascara of the year. This is the Clinique High Impact Extreme Volume Mascara. Apparently, I was really all about the Clinique High Impact Volume Mascara. That's another old beauty friend I haven't checked up on in a while. I haven't checked out Clinique in a long time. I'm just using the Tower 28 mascara. The lip liner that I'm wearing today is actually this one by Chanel. It is color number 68 Rose Poudre. Beautiful rosy shade. Always a big fan of Chanel lip liners. I definitely liked lighter pink lips and lighter peachy pink lips at that point in my life, but I'm not really into those colors on me anymore. But I still love a Chanel lip liner, and this year one of my most used lip liner was a Chanel lip liner in shade 162 Nude Brun. As you can see, I'm more than halfway through it, and it's a delightful neutral brown lip liner. The formula is really creamy, it's easy to blend. I still have a little bit of lip balm on my lips. I should have probably wiped it off, but I don't like when I put on a lip liner and it just kind of shrivels up my lips. Is by Tom Ford. This is the color Pink Dusk. I'm wearing it today with the Chanel lip liner. I love it. Tom Ford lip colors are absolutely beautiful. It's been a minute since I bought a Tom Ford lipstick. I remember being really disappointed because they always went bad really quickly. They used to go bad within about a year. I'm just going to do a little Make Beauty Serum Balm Intense in the shade Anti-Gravity. I love this lip color so much. It just kind of works with everything. It's easy to just throw on in my bag and reapply throughout the day. It's super, super moisturizing. It's not long lasting at all. It wears off quickly, but it's the kind of product that you reapply throughout the day. I also talk about NARS Satin Lip Pencil. I don't know if they still make them. They probably don't do them, but in the shade Biscayne Park, I remember loving that so much. It was like a peachy shade, and then it is a rose, but it's slightly brighter. It as it dries down on the lips, it loses a little bit of the brightness, but it's one of those lip colors that you put on the lip coat first, and then it has a little gloss that you kind of seal everything in with, and this is extremely transfer resistant. Now the next lip product I talk about in that video is a product that was such a favorite, and it's a product that, again, I really want to revisit, and it was the Chanel double-ended long-wearing lipstick. I think it was discontinued for a while, and then they brought it back, and I used to love the shade, what was it called? Rose? This is a new color that they came out with in the fall, and it's color number It doesn't have a number on it, but it's Sensual Rose. I probably wouldn't buy that shade again. I would probably buy the shade, I think it's called Timeless Beige. Tanya, from Tanya Wells, I think she did a lip combination. She did a lip combination series on her Instagram last month, I believe, and one of her lip combinations featured this, the Chanel long-wearing double-ended formula, and I think she used the shade Timeless Beige, and it looked so beautiful on her, so I think I'm going to buy that. Number 222 by Dior. This is called Casual Beige. This looks really good with Dior Earth. Have a beautiful shiny finish. They do not need, they don't need a gloss. The Dior Addict lipsticks were a big favorite of mine. Dior has revamped them and brought them back, and I do have one of them. This color that I have is not close to the beige color that I showed in my 2013 favorites, but this is a formula that I still love and I still recommend, and it's another favorite that has stood the test of time. It's nice to see that it stuck around. That's it for the makeup favorites of 2013. Next up, I talk about nail polish, and my favorite nail polish of 2013 was Chanel Holiday. It was a really bright orangey red kind of shade. I still love orangey reds. I did buy a Chanel nail polish this year, and I do really like it. I bought the shade number 969. I think this is from their spring collection, and this year Chanel revamped their nail polishes again. It's by Ojon. This is the Ojon Full Detox, the Rub Out Dry Cleansing Powder, and this was the best powder dry shampoo that I've ever tried. This is a dry shampoo that my friend Vanessa and I still talk about, and we're still upset about losing that dry shampoo. That dry shampoo is, you know, got discontinued. I think Ojon went out of business. I still haven't found a dry shampoo as good as that one was, but I also haven't been using dry shampoo. I used to be a hardcore dry shampoo user, but I don't really use dry shampoo as much anymore. It's been my signature scent of the year, and it's Burberry Body, and I'm almost out of it. I really enjoy it. This one really made me smile. Just talked about Burberry Body in my winter, cozy winter favorites video, because it's a fragrance that I still love, I still buy, I still have in my life, and in the video I describe it. It's sweet, it's sweet and fresh, but warm at the same time. Sweet and fresh and warm at the same time. That's this fragrance. It's so cozy, it's so lovely. I'm still upset that Burberry discontinued it, but I think FragranceNet. I love FragranceNet, by the way. If you're into hunting down discontinued / discounted fragrances, FragranceNet is a good place. The next fragrance I talk about in that video is Prada Candy Low, which is a flanker of Prada Candy. I have not smelled Prada Candy in a minute. It's been a long time, but I did have a moment with that fragrance. I remember when it first came out, the beauty community was obsessed with it. Everybody bought it, everybody loved it, and then Prada Candy Low was like a slightly lighter, more floral, an eau de toilette, so it was a little bit lighter, a little bit more floral, a little bit more fresh. It wasn't quite as sweet as the original. So yeah, that was my other favorite. Are any of you wearing Prada Candy? Do you still love that fragrance? Let me know in the comments. So fun doing this. Just a nice chilled out Sunday video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and if you have been with me, I know some of you, I talk to you on Instagram or you leave me really kind comments. I know some of you have stuck around for 10+ years. I can't even convey how grateful I am for you and how happy that makes me. I feel like so many of us have just kind of grown up together on the internet, and it's just really cool. And the fact that so many of you still stick around and you trust me with beauty recommendations and stuff like that. I've always just found such solace and so much happiness in the beauty community online, even though sometimes it drives me crazy. Sometimes it makes me roll my eyes, but it has grown and evolved so much. It's become such a big industry, such a big business. I don't know, I just find that sweet and cozy nostalgia when I think about the early days. I definitely want to film a video kind of a where are they now video in terms of my 2022 beauty favorites. I think in terms of beauty reviews and beauty recommendations, that will be a really useful video to do. I saw Charlotte Holdcroft do that video, and I loved watching it, and it really put that idea at the forefront of my mind. So I'll definitely be doing that. I think it's a really good exercise to look back at the products that were cream of the crop of 2022 and whether or not they held up. Definitely stay tuned for my big yearly Best of Beauty 2023 video. I filmed that with my friend Dina. I'm really excited to film that. She's coming over in the next couple weeks and we will do that. Usually my Best of Beauty video with Dina goes live the week between Christmas and New Year's, but this year, because of our scheduling differences, I think it'll be a little bit later. So it's probably going to be the first video that I do in 2024. So stay tuned for that. Shortly after New Year's in January, that video is coming. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a beautiful day and I will see you in my next video. Bye.